Everybody ready? That's 4:30. I'll call the meeting to order. Was the meeting properly announced?
Yes.
Okay. Roll call reflect all committee members are here, either here or online. Approval of agenda.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, motion been made and seconded to approve the agenda. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Raise your hand. Aye.
Aye.
All approved. Public participation on agenda items will take as it comes along. Approval of the minutes of the last meeting.
I'll second. Approve them.
Okay, Ken made a motion and Scott second. Any discussion? Not, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, first on the agenda is review and act on ATV, UTV route applications, the ones that was returned to the committee from county board.
Right. So I think everybody's aware of what this is. This is the town of Adams ATV routes. That also at that time included County H. How did that happen? There was an appeal request, and County H was brought into or added to that ordinance revision. So that route H was part of that ordinance revision. So a lot of discussion about H at county board, and as a result, it was sent back to committee.
What had happened is in 2019 it was approved by the town of Easton to do that, and when we brought it back to the committee, we did not know that town of Easton had changed their motion on that to not allow it. So I guess my feelings are is we remove County H from that ordinance and move the original ordinance without that back to county board. Is there any discussion?
I'm gonna
Can I speak?
make my famous motion, I guess, that we table this until the ad hoc committee has reconvened and reviewed the ATV ordinance before we move forward.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mark.
once again, we have an ordinance in place, and there is nothing that says that we should not or cannot proceed forward with our ordinance. By dropping H, it's approving the ordinance as it stands. And given that, I would like to make the motion that we approve the ordinance and move forward.
I already had a motion from Ken. Was there a second on Ken's motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, motion been made to send it back to, or send it actually to the ad hoc committee.
To table it.
To table it till then.
Mr.
Is there any
Chairman,
discussion? I know Mark, you made a statement already. Go ahead, Mark.
I said I'd like to ask for a roll call vote.
Okay. Is there any other discussion before we call for the vote?
Yes, before we enter, leave discussion, I would like to say a few words on this topic. Am I allowed to at this stage?
I'll acknowledge you.
I'm sorry.
How long does he get?
3 minutes.
Okay. First of all, the County H that section of H, as well as a section in 35-mile-an-hour zone by White Creek, are both still in the ordinance. There's been no rescission of that section of the ordinance, so it's still effective. Point number 2 is that despite communication over the summer with the Easton Board, the club received no indication that anybody was against this. And it came as a shock that I heard Ms. Shafi say that the board was against it. Also, I was led to believe, and I believe it's true, that the Easton Lions Club had voted affirmative to have ATVs in their location. So there are some discrepancies here, and this is why the organization moved forward with it. Not discrepancy, but move forward with the facts that we had in hand. But there certainly, I think that some of these facts should be brought out and made in writing to the Highway Committee as well as to the club. I end my conversation.
Okay. Is there any other discussion?
This is Jody Shapey. Could I have a 3-minute stint?
Yeah, go ahead, Jody.
Okay, so couple things. One is, if this goes back to the ad hoc committee, I don't know if anyone has been made aware of the Wisconsin Dells ATV UTV ordinance, but I would hope that the ad hoc committee would be looking into some of the items that the Wisconsin Dells ordinance put into place. I think they're a good solution to concerns that a lot of people in the county have in regards to safety. Second of all, Eric Edwards, Easton did hold a vote. They did talk about it at the last monthly meeting. I did send paperwork in to everybody on the highway committee. I did not send it to you, and I apologize, but they did do a minutes, a rejection on that route. And the reason that there was some confusion was that way back when in 2019, the route was denied for whatever reason, and I'm still concerned about the fact that you appealed that denial. But regardless, even though you're not in town of Easton, you appealed it. It came back around. That's when I started investigating. Town of Easton said no. Lions Club was neutral. If the route went forward, fine. ATV, UTV could use the parking lot. If the route did not go forward, they could not use the parking lot. And that was what that vote was. And I will end the conversation with that. If there's any questions, please ask.
If I may, just I would love to sit down with you, Ms. Shafi, and discuss the issue. If you have time sometime, I'll give you a call. We can set up a date. I'd love to discuss it with you.
Eric, I think it's beyond discussion. It is what it is. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Debate. I think we should move forward with the issue that's on the floor.
Yeah. Okay.
I would like to speak, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Once again, I'm just going to rephrase what I said. We have an ordinance in place. The ad hoc committee is to review and make changes as what perhaps we feel necessary as a ad hoc committee, and then bring it for the highway department. But tabling it to see what changes are made, I think is redundant. All it is just kicking the can down the road. I highly recommend we vote this down to table it.
Ken?
Supervisor Hamburg, may I ask you a question in regards to revising the ordinance?
This is not a public debate. We have a motion on the floor.
Yeah.
I understand that, but this is in regards to your motion. Where is an ordinance changed? At the ad hoc committee level or at the highway level? I guess I'm confused.
The ad hoc committee will make recommendations for changes. It goes before the highway committee, and then from there, it goes to the county board. So it's not, the ad hoc committee doesn't really have any power other than to recommend changes. The highway committee is the final, or the approval to move it forward to the county board. It has to be approved by every, by the full county board, or all 20 members. So it's not like the ad hoc committee has the power. It's not a clandestine committee by no means. That's why we don't feel, or at least myself personally, feel there's an urgency to get the ad hoc committee meeting during this COVID virus. Let's not put ATVs and politics ahead of public health.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, Mr. Bork and Mr. Pease are entertaining changes to an ordinance, and that would have to go to the ad hoc committee. Is that correct?
No.
All they're asking is to table this until the ad hoc committee meets. And
where changes could occur. Where changes could be occurring.
Ms. JP, I think your 3 minutes are up. Yeah. We do have a...
I gladly give the floor.
The other thing we got to look at here is what we're actually voting on has nothing to do with what the ad hoc committee is going to be doing, because we already have an ordinance in place, and all we're doing is adding some highways or some county highways to this list of roads that are open. So, again,
I guess my interpretation as I read the ordinance over, and why I'm asking to table it, is because the way I read it, if there's these roads are to be open, if there's no alternative routes to go on, which I have looked at, and there's a fair amount of alternate routes to go on. Not a fair amount, but there's alternate routes. Are they inconvenient? Are they out of the way for somebody to drive on? Yes, they are. But that's what the routes are, is to get from the county road, is to get from the shortest amount on a county road to a town route to get to less traffic. And that's why I think that these routes are spending too much time on the county roads with the way that the ordinance is written. And that's why I made the motion to table it until we can review that and see what the language is on what's the shortest route for a county road. Is it just to get everybody on that county road to be able to ride an ATV, or is it to get from one township road to another township road that there is no other one? So that's why I'm tabling it, because I don't think the ordinance, the language that I read, indicates that these are direct routes. That some of them might make that route that there is no alternative route, but some of them do have an alternative route, and that's why I wanted to go back and have that definition more clearly stated.
Gordy, as referring to Jackson, Mr. Bork, I believe the ones in Jackson, most of them are the only way to get from one place to another.
Yeah, and that one's actually going to the county board anyway. It has nothing to do with one that we're discussing right now.
I have gone out and I have friends of mine that ride their ATVs into town to go to work, and they live north of town, which they say they have no issues going up to Check Avenue, over the 10th, down 10th, and on Dearborn, and make it to town. They don't need to be out on J for what they're doing, and it's more than one person that's told me that. So that's why I think that's why we need to clarify that. That's why I'm asking to table it, and that's just my opinion, and I'll let it go for that.
I want to make one comment, and then I'll call for the vote. But there is landowners and residences along County J that can't get out to another road legally without being on County J.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Am I recognized?
Mark? Yeah.
Mr. Bork, I fully understand your argument, and that's a very, very good argument to vote no on the ordinance. In my opinion, it's not a debate to table this. If you're opposed to it, then vote no when the ordinance is on the floor. Don't try to kick it down the road to the ad hoc committee. That's why I am opposed to tabling this. Let's get it on the floor and let's vote.
Scott, you had a question?
I don't totally agree with your point you just made, Gordy, because there's a lot of people in this county that have to trailer their ATV, UTVs to a certain spot to get on trails. So that's kind of, I guess, up for debate too. You know, whether people can get in or out or from their house or wherever their land or whatever.
Well, I agree to a point, but there's not a lot of places for them to park trailers unless they have somebody prearranged. But anyway, we're going to call for the vote. And the motion was to table it and send it back to the ad hoc committee. And I'm going to roll call vote this. Ken?
No, or yes, excuse me, yes, table it.
Larry? Scott?
Yeah.
Mark?
No.
And I vote no.
I did not hear Larry. How did he vote, please?
No.
Thank you. All right, I'd like to pass a motion that we approve this application.
I'll second that.
Okay, been seconded by Larry. Is there any discussion on that?
Where is the ordinance at?
You have that, Pat?
I want to know what roads are included on it, I guess.
You can pull that back up. I think you had it up here. Yeah, that list. It'd be number 18 through 26.
Nope. No, sir. So
I thought
18 to
26 was the road.
25. I believe, if I'm understanding the committee correctly, are you including or excluding H?
Excluding H, I'm sorry, yeah.
So the,
About 23.
correct, 23 County H will not be on the ordinance if you send
Right.
it back. I know, Ken, I see it too.
I'm just, my glasses. are
23
focused on it.
and, Mr. Chairman,
Yes?
23 and 26 should be
Right.
removed, and I would agree to amend my motion on behalf of that.
Okay. Larry, you second that? Okay. Is there any other discussion? Now we'll call for the vote. Ken? Larry?
Yes.
Scott?
No.
And I'm yes.
Did you
The
skip
motion's
me?
carried.
Did you include Mark?
I didn't hear you mention.
I did not hear you, Mark.
Thank you.
You voted yes?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Don't
I
lead
don't
them.
have you- I don't have you up on my screen and I missed you. All right. We'll move on to review and act on amendment to ATV highway crossings route ordinance. So we need a motion on that too now.
So essentially, you kind of did those items. You're sending
Right.
the ordinance back to ordinance 19 back to county board, revised with H removed. So the town of Adams routes are still in play.
Yep.
H will be removed. That's what you guys did.
Okay.
I believe we have enough there, right, ma'am? We have enough. So you motioned already to do it.
County Road H, 14th Court to 14th Avenue, a request for no parking ordinance. Did everybody hear me on this? My computer just went unstable, so did you hear me? Okay.
So I don't, if this is a request for no parking on County H, I think it's for an event that takes place at a local establishment. I think once a year, from what I understand, it's from 14th Court to 14th Avenue is what I believe they're asking for. It's a short section of County H. Just, I guess we'll call it that, from Ernie's going east, if you're familiar with that area, going east down to the next T intersection that goes north there. It's a small loop around road there. So they've been having an event. I guess there's some concerns about motorists, people, with vehicles parking along H on both sides. I don't know if the committee is entertaining drafting an ordinance for such a thing. Just remember, this ordinance is not specific to one event. It's in play all the time. Signs will be posted. You park there. The sheriff has the authority to write tickets then on any event, not just one. And that being said, what distance will you want to consider? Because that is a very narrow window there. It wouldn't be abnormal for somebody to park just outside that sign and walk an extra 50 feet. Is it a necessity that, is it something the committee wants to entertain? That's why it's on the agenda here today. If there's an ordinance to be drafted, it would be at the direction of this group here.
Does the business owner, does he want it for year round, or is he just looking for that event?
When I spoke with the gentleman from the town of Easton there, he didn't specify one way or the other. So, no parking ordinances are the ones that I'm familiar with, and the ones that we have in place are year-round, all the time. We have them down on B by Furfin. We have some out on County Z by Makovich's. Those are there 24/7.
Has the sheriff's department had any calls or anything on the way they're parking out there, or is it just the business owner's concern?
So I haven't been contacted by the sheriff directly, and I have not gone to the sheriff with this request. So him and I have not had this type of communication. The request.
Mike, can't hear you.
The request has come from the town of Easton, a supervisor.
The township.
Okay. Now, I think the supervisor has been contacted by the business owner to, move his concern forward. The business owner in years past had inquired about, fence or no parking or barricades or something along there when they host an event.
Pat, this is Jody Shapey, and I'm in Easton. He holds two of the same events, one in the spring and one in the fall. So, just FYI.
Is there anything else that goes on along that stretch there during the rest of the year?
I don't know. It's a nice area that DJ's has. It's lawnmower races that they hold 2 times a year. Are there other events? Yeah, there might be. I really don't know. The last time I heard a concern about the no parking, and this you'd have to find out more information. But if there is an incident where an ambulance needs to get in, I believe that's why they don't want any parking blocking the accessibility to someone that might have gotten injured during the event. But I could be wrong.
Okay. Is there any other comments, or what's your pleasure? Is this something you think we should check with Sheriff's Department and see what their thoughts are before we make a ordinance on it? I mean, obviously, this isn't something that they won't have any more races yet this fall.
Yeah, I can reach out to the sheriff and see what their complaint history is, if any, on that area.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments on that? Ken?
Nope.
No. Let's check with the Sheriff's Department and get some input from them first, and then we can put it back on committee agenda for next month. All right, review and act on property owner concerns, County Z Devil's Elbow beam guard extension.
So attached to the meeting notice, you can see there's a letter of concern from the residents in the area of Devil's Elbow. Their request is to essentially install beam guard further around the curve at the Devil's Elbow area. It is changed. It is different than what it was before, after construction. And I think you can see with the attachment, there was an incident where, an errant vehicle left the roadway, made it across some green space, and ended up in the flowage.
Pat, you're scrolling through your letter too fast. Can you scroll down on it a bit so we can finish reading it?
My question, Pat, would be, is with the beam guard there. Now, beam guard in I might be wrong on this, but beam guard is more to be veered into. But if you put it on that corner like that, is it going to be more 90-degree going into it, where on the ends you would have crash cushions that would have some absorption to it? But is this going to? I don't know. Just a thought. I mean, I'm wondering what you're thinking on how sharp this bend is. I'm not. I know the area, but I don't know it that well enough to say whether that's going to be too sharp. So if a car hits it, there's no absorption there. But just a thought, I guess.
Well, we had one motorcycle that ran into the opposite side right there on the curve and went straight into one. So, and it's,
okay.
I mean, there is a need for something there, whether it be beam guard or, I don't know if we had more arrows up or chevrons up or something, if that would help any or what, but the chevrons ain't going to stop them from going through and landing in the water. Is that 35 there, Pat?
I think it's 35 there.
I do have a clip of that area here. As soon as I get done scrolling through this here, we'll look at that little clip. And so, I'm not here to refute, but to share information. The individual with the bike, very unfortunate, very, very high speed crash. He was southbound. This individual was cited for excessive speed. And then we'll go back. We're getting close here. We'll look at a couple photos that the landowners here. So a lot of these landowners here are right in the area of the curve, right on Devil's Elbow there. You can see some of them are husband-wife teams here. But there are several that did sign, and they have some concerns. So when you get to the photo here, you can kind of see the photo they provided. You see where the vehicle come off. There's a driveway right over here, right where my cursor is. You can see part of it right here. On the far right side, there is a driveway there. Okay, so just keep that in mind when we go through here. And then it goes further. Yeah, very, very scary incident.
Pat, is this the land that's owned by Kevin Cole, or is this county land, or whose land is that there?
So this land, it's a little hard to see, but this land right here where these tire tracks are, this actually is Kevin Cole's property now. This there was a property transfer done between Adams County and Kevin Cole. We acquired some property on the other side of the road in exchange for this property. So again, it's a little hard to see in this photo. We'll catch it in the video when we look at it. But there is a yellow right-of-way marker right down here by this drive. So we'll get. Let me get to the bottom of these photos here quick. Right. It's not something you see every day. So this clip, it might be a little jittery, but it is of the area. So you can see double caution signs here. I would also advise the vehicle that left the roadway, no indication of an attempt to stop. There were no skid marks. See it. So I'm well around the curve already. You can see our beam guard doesn't start until over here now. So I'm well around the curve. Here's that driveway I was referencing earlier in that photo that we can just partially see. Here's a right-of-way marker right here. So I know we're not up there, and it's very difficult to see in this imaging in this little video clip. Basically, the right-of-way here is about 2 to 5 feet beyond the back slope where it intercepts the existing. So where the ditch comes up and on the back, our right-of-way is just a little bit beyond that. That's how it goes around this curve. It follows this curve.
Where would you propose or where would they like, or whoever's proposing this, where would they like to see the beam guard begin?
Well, I received the same information you did. They just wanted extended to where we didn't get a really an answer of that. My guess would be is, probably to the driveway. The issue or concern with that is that once you put beam guard by a driveway, that in itself becomes a visual obstruction to other motorists when they're coming through there. So I understand there's some issues and some vehicles that have trouble traversing this curve. This isn't a new issue. Again, the vehicle that left the roadway, 0 skid marks. The load of logs reference that come off, very unfortunate again. Load wasn't secured. The group that was moving that, not licensed to do so. So can we put beam guard up to stop everybody from leaving the roadway? No, I would caution you, you can't do that. Inevitably, someone's going to leave the roadway somewhere. Beam guard up here might have stopped. From my understanding, I think the vehicle that left the roadway and ended up in the water, I'm guessing he was getting their beam guard or not, from what I understood. But that's beyond another point. The request is to extend the beam guard here. That request was made during construction. When I inquired to DOT about it, they're said through the evaluation of the beam guard, it wasn't warranted due to the length of need. And so that's why the beam guard terminated where it does, just around the curve there. This isn't just 20 or 40 feet here. This has got to be a couple hundred feet off the curve before you get to the water's edge. So
I have a question for you. If you extend the beam guard down by the driveway, would that be obscuring the view of the people pulling their automobiles off the driveway?
They just said.
I agree. Yes, I agree, Mark. Yes, I believe it will be. It will restrict and limit vision at that driveway there. So, if there's consideration about extending the beam guard, I think I know. Unfortunately, we just did some work on this road, but I think we would want to get the opinion of someone with some design, some with a stamp that's bigger than mine, to say if it's a good idea or not to put beam guard and extend it there. I mean, the committee can make that decision to do it, but I think what you should tell me is to go get a little more information for you from an engineer.
Because with the beam guard, it isn't going to be 10 foot off the road back, like for that driveway. Beam guard's 2 feet off the asphalt pavement. So when you're wanting to pull out of there, you're going to have to get your car out there farther to see something, depending on the kind of car you're driving or vehicle you're driving.
And I'm guessing at 35 miles an hour, you're not going to have any problem. So you're going probably over 45 to have a problem.
I personally went around there at 45 just to see, and I had no problem. Scott?
I make a motion we table this until Pat gets more information from the DOT or whoever he's going to seek to get information from.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion been made and seconded to table it for now until we get more information. Is there any discussion? I have one thing I'd like to maybe add to that is, do you think maybe we could put up a few more chevrons along there just to give it a little bit more visibility? I know you get too many on it, it gets kind of busy, but I think there's quite a space between them two. And I think if you put another 2 or 3 in between them, that would give them a little bit more, the right guy comes through there, he's still going to blast through it, but.
So the signs that, Mr. Carlson's referencing are these right here, these small
yellow chevrons.
Yep, these chevrons with the arrows on them. So we can look into that. We'll look into that, and I'll come up and see what we can or can't do. These are placed by guidance by the MUTCD, so I would be shocked if they're outside of what's prescribed in the MUTCD, be it that was a DOT project. Well, we certainly can look. I was thinking the same thing, doubling up the signs. Here's some other things I was thinking about, in place of perhaps another fixed object on the roadway there.
Could you put caution lights on those?
So that was the other thing I was thinking about, is probably maybe adding flashing yellows here. We have flashing reds at the intersection of G and C. So that is something we could consider, is adding flashing reds, flashing yellows here on these curve signs. So the units that we have are solar powered, so we don't have to run power to those, and we have not, quite honestly, had an issue with the ones at G and C since we put those up, and that's been years.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? If not, you've heard the motion seconded. All in favor? say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Okay,
Aye.
reviewing,
I didn't.
review and act on County Road M, 11th Avenue to 10th Avenue.
We have nothing under this item for right away. We have no acquisitions under this item at this time.
Okay.
Were you able to have any discussions with Mr. Cease out there after we had our meeting last week or last month, excuse me, on his pipe issues or anything?
I have not contacted Joe at this point yet.
Yeah, I'm sure
I
he's
guess
busy.
one of the things I can and I will at some point here. What I can't do is guarantee him that I'm going to drain his ag field.
Right.
I can't. I won't do that.
Yeah.
Regardless of the pipes that I put in there, it's not going to change very much how his ag field is reacting to water. So we haven't met with Mr. Cease yet. We probably will soon here. We are down to, I think, one landowner to acquire.
Okay, by looking at this other sheet, Pat, I believe we might have missed one here is review and act on County Road M, the road construction documents updates. Was there some change orders involved in that? Or am I missing something?
I don't know. Are they flip-flop? They might
On
just
the
be
agenda,
flip-flopped.
does it? Okay.
Yeah, it's just those two items are just flip-flopped is all that is.
Okay.
If you want, we back up to
Okay.
updates.
Okay, then we can go back. We can do the one with the County Road M, 11th Avenue with change orders.
So the change orders I sent out, copied the committee on. One was extension of time. The other one was for borrow on the project. Both have been executed. They're signed. The borrow was, we talked a little bit earlier about it. As a result of the asphalt being thicker in areas, that resulted in less common available to build the road. And then the thickness of the topsoil in the ditches that quite surprisingly was there also resulted in less material available to build the road that you're seeing out there. So that didn't happen immediately. We were actually the addition of fill, or the request to bring fill in. It didn't really happen until they were working in an isolated area, right in the area by Robles Mobile Home Park, in that area, because they did work from the very west end to Robles, and then they backed up to 10th Avenue and did a stretch in there. So there was just a small area where they just didn't have quite enough material available on site. So when you look at the change order, it was estimated at 1,000 yards. I don't have a count yet on what was actually brought in. The other thing that happened is we did supply some material on the project. We had some waste material from the Bryan Building project out at the Highway Department. We moved that material out there and they incorporated that as well.
So we don't have to add on any change orders at this point until you know what.
They're acted on. Folks.
Okay.
They've been executed.
Okay. All right. Review and act. Okay.
Just one thing I noticed out there, Pat, and it's probably not a big deal to 99% of the people, but it's something that caught my eye, is where the barricades are set up on M and on 11th. I believe the slants are all going to get you in the ditch.
Oh,
for the closed roads and not going towards the middle. So I was
okay.
just, one is showing to the middle and the other one showing to get in the ditch. So I just thought I'd make you aware of it just because I always feared that somebody was gonna.
Okay.
Hey, Pat, this is Dylan. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I actually moved those barricades over to the shoulder so the cars go to the middle of the road this afternoon. So that problem should be taken care of.
I mean, the diagonals on the barricades, they were towards the ditches where they rotated so it points for closed road to go to the middle.
Okay, I see. I'll take care of that tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Okay. Review and act on County Z 18th lane to Apache driveway repair. I see it hasn't been done yet.
No, it hasn't been done. I think what happened so far is we did get the asphalt removed. Pavement was there. Gasser was on site. They felt the driveway was too soft to put pavement on, so they loaded up and pulled out. We had to bring Mashuda back to do some work on the driveway, on the gravel, on the base. So they did do that, and now we're at a point where we are waiting again for asphalt. So that work has been done. We're just now waiting for the asphalt to be placed. Indications that it should be this week, but today's Thursday and it's not quite done yet.
Okay. Review and act on tractor loader repairs, purchase lease.
So an item we talked about last month, I sent out after that meeting some information for the committee to review and look at and think about. I included it again on my little memo here. I hopefully added a few more items to think about. Just to review it quickly, our unit 2003 case, little over 6,000 hours. Our book value that we have on our book is about 15.4. The primary issue is the clutch packs in it, and we've been advised not to run it the way it is. I guess if we run it the way that it is, we're going to do more damage to the unit. And from what it was explained to me, it's a situation where a group of clutch packs operate everything on the bottom side 1 through 6, and then everything above that the other side runs. So I don't understand that part, but that's the way it was explained to me. The estimated repair just for that is $30,000. The other issues that we have identified that we know of, the front differential leaks. It happens unfortunately at times, but it does drip. The other more though concerning thing is that it does use, maybe not for some, it does use about a gallon of oil a week. So when we're using that tractor or running it consistently, it will go through about a gallon of oil a week. So at some point you can about guess you could possibly be into some type of rebuild on it or some type of reconditioning on there. What would be the value of that? I guess it depends on how far you go into the engine. I'm quite sure. Rough estimate that Gary threw out to me was really, somewhere in the 5,000 to 7,000 probably, if you were gonna, freshen it up a bit. So then the other thing that we did is we had that other new tractor. We talked about that. So I went through, and I tried to get some numbers on there for you. We got the new tractor on there. We got the extended warranty on there. We show the loader on there. I threw the trade value in there. Of what they propose to give us for trade, and then I show at the bottom line there what our out of pocket would be. Below that, you go down to the end of that item. I'm looking at my little notes here. So Current machinery account, we're about 690,000 in there. We know we have expenses to the Bryan building of 240,000. In addition, we have about 30,000 for tanks. That is not included as part of the building project. Those are to be provided by us. That was our choice. We wanted it that way. So that leaves us roughly with a balance of about 417 in the machinery account when we're done with those things. The two things that are unknown is what other expenses are we going to incur? We're getting ready to go into winter months. So generally, you probably will see some repairs or some increase in expenses as equipment is gone through and starting to get ready for winter maintenance. So what could it be? 100,000, 50,000. You think sounds like a lot of money, but we're running a fleet of what would be 16. We're getting 18 trucks ready. Three loaders, 2 graders. So, things happen and things need to be replaced at times. So what do we do? It's going to be kind of a committee decision, I hope here. We did show some rental units there for the committee to consider. So you're looking at, we went and got costs from 2 different places. Rental unit from Brooks Tractor, you can see it's $1,900 a month. However, that is at 40 hours per month. If you go over the 40 hours, then you pay that $45 rate. We did reach out to another one, American State there. They're, considerably higher. So obviously I don't think that would be a good choice if the committee's thinking of that option. So I don't know if you have questions for me on what I can try to help with the numbers or the unit itself. The unit is a 2003. I don't know if that's good or bad. In our books, the way we show it, it is depreciated out on our book. So that is the book value that we have, 15.4.
What did they tell you? What kind of availability on this tractor and loader?
So if we order a tractor loader, availability, delivery, probably December, January if it was ordered. So that's what you'd be looking at. One of the ways, if you're thinking about this, now this happens from time to time. One of the things you could tell me to do, and I'll share with you. You could tell me to go ahead and replace the loader, figure it into your 2021 budget. As simple as that, right? Mm-hmm. What I most likely would do at that point is come back to you and tell you folks that I would like to order the equipment and I would like to pay for it in 2021. And we would have to adjust our asset replacement schedule for 2021. What would give in there? What would we remove? Most likely the bigger dollar item in there, and that would be a truck. We would postpone buying a truck out of 2021.
When you look at this tractor, with your assets, like you're saying, with the truck to replace, where down the line did you anticipate replacing this tractor?
We prior to our other shop foreman leaving, we did talk a little bit about the replacement of tractors, and really thought the tractor would probably go quite a while yet, right? It doesn't get a whole lot of use. It does get used. We load salt with this tractor. That's one of the other function that this tractor does. So it does get abused, I guess, a little bit into a salt pile. Salt piles at times do become a little hard. So we use it there. And then the other use is at the mowing tractor. So we use it in the spring and the fall for that use. In the asset replacement schedule, quite honestly, it wasn't on the 5-year asset replacement schedule.
Well, just looking at your figures, Pat, after the brine building and tanks and stuff, you show a projected balance of 417,000, and we take 130 off of that. It's going to put us at just under 300,000 balance. Is that correct?
That would be correct. Yes, that is correct. So the other thing, there are revenues that will go in the machinery account. There is depreciation that will need to come off of there. So what are those numbers going to be? Are they going to balance themselves out, or are they not going to balance themselves out? We've talked about this a little bit, Sherry and I have, and I mean, if we knew that answer, we'd probably be doing something else, quite honestly. It's really you can't anticipate if you're going to lose a truck or not. So if you have an injector go out of a truck in the winter months, you're going to need to repair that. When you do that, most likely you're not just going to do one. You're going to repair all. We're going to replace all.
So I have a question. If we're at 270 and might have 60 to 100,000 repairs that you don't know about, Lease is 170. Are you comfortable with that 170?
Well, actually, I'm not. If you have the underlying thought, I'll tell you what my underlying, I'll just share with you. My thought is to tell me to figure it out in the 2021 budget and to allow me to lease a unit for 1 month. That would get us, November's relatively, it could go either way. You could get snow or ice in November, or you might not. December, on the other hand, you take a little bit bigger chance that you are going to have events. That 1 month lease would be in December, and then it would terminate because the plan or the hope would be is that our tractor is here by that time.
Well, I'll make a motion to put it on 2021 budget and go ahead with it.
Okay, motion been made and seconded to go ahead and purchase it to put it on 2021 budget. Is there any discussion on that? If not, all in favor of the motion, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Just one last comment on that. So what we're talking about,
put your mic down.
The one last comment about that is what we're talking about does not impact or affect or change our levy impact to the county. This money does not come from that. This is our machinery account. So this doesn't change anything as far as our tax levy dollars that we are allocated.
Larry, did you have thoughts of including that 1 month rental included in that
Yes.
motion? Okay. I kind of thought that's what you meant, but I want to make sure it's clear on there. I didn't hear you.
At the cheaper amount, quote from Brooks Tractor.
Yeah, the 1900.
Yeah.
Yeah. You all right with that, Scott?
Yep.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to committee goals for 2021. I think we already got into some of that.
Yep. Hey, this is Kyle here. So I'll just remind you guys of last year's goals for the 2020 budget. There's 3 of them that you had. Continue maintenance of the county highway system, continue capital planning and stay on track for target dates, and then refresh ATV, UTV ordinance through the ad hoc committee. Those were the goals for last year.
Yeah. I think we're probably on that same level for this next year. It's kind of hard to foresee some of the other stuff that might be coming up. I mean, with County Road M being in works and possibly some on County Z coming up.
Mhm.
Anybody else have anything? All right, we'll move on to 2021 budget updates.
So we sent out the 2021 budget summary to all the committees last week or the week before, I believe. At that time, we hadn't recommended any changes on the highway budget. Later last week, the state sent out general transportation aid estimates for 2021. So we ended up decreasing the highway levy by $29,799 and then increasing the transportation aid by that amount to balance it out.
Okay. Pat, you have anything else on that?
No, I was going to share about the same thing there.
Okay.
I got one question on, it's in the green book. Highway expenditures per capita in 2018, we were second in the state at $426. The medium's 125. Have we brought that down?
So I can look into it further for you, sir, but if I'm understanding what you're asking, it kind of somewhat depends on how much money you're spending on the highways and where that number comes from. When you think, I'll look into it, sure, to get you a definite answer.
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Henry. I did not hear that question completely that was just asked. Could he please repeat that?
I'm in the green book here, Mark. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We're second in the state in highway expenditures per capita at $426, and the median for the state is 125. I was just wondering if that's coming down or not.
So if I'm not
The only thing that I would debate against that is tourism. When you use the term per capita, tourism adds into where we have to have better highways and better roads, and they also contribute to our tax base, either with vacation homes or with sales tax or both. So I really don't think per capita is a good judgment to base on what we spend for our highways. We have, I don't know the numbers exactly, but I would argue we have as many vacationers here in Adams County that are not permanent residents as we do residents. You know, and I guess if I could do an analogy, you could use alcohol sales in our county. Given as few people as we have in our county and as many people that come up here on vacation, we're probably number one in the nation in alcohol consumption per capita.
Thanks, Mark. Could you answer the question there? Best you can, I guess.
I will look into it further, but I think, what year is that you're referencing? There's that last year?
2018. This is the book I was referencing.
We are in 2020, so.
I don't know how far.
When you go, I'll look into it.
Yeah, this is the 2020 book. So.
Okay. So when you go back and think about what was taking place in the 2018 era, that was in a time where we had previously received a sum of money from admin finance for specifically road improvements. Within that time frame was County Trunk Highway P, a huge project. So that, I'm sure, contributed to that cost, but I will research it more and get us all a better answer.
I'm not questioning where the money's going or what. What I'm questioning is it coming down in, it might be more because of County Trunk M now too, you know? I don't know. I just wanted to know where that figure came from.
Probably has a lot to do with the amount of new road improvements we've been doing too, versus some other counties or whatever. All right, Highway Department operations.
Okay. Been doing a lot of the normal activities in the fall here. We've been doing some patching. We are out mowing on our second round in the fall for the fall mowing. We're currently running 2 mowers as one tractor is sitting idle at our shop. They're not being used. The paving project that I previously discussed for State Highway 82, that short 1,800 ton overlay project we were going to do, starting at County B and going west for about 9,000 feet. That did get pulled. We are no longer doing that. We finished up some painting, both ours, the state. We're going back to finish up some for Wapaka. So we did empty one of our trucks. We only have paint in one unit right now. We did do that ditching project on County C, that's west of 13, as well as a short area east of 13. And then the other one down by Mr. Maddox's place there that we had previously discussed as well. We did complete those. We did do some work for the town of Springville on 13th Court. That was a road that washed some pretty severe washouts that from a heavy rain event that took place down there. So we just did hopefully finish that today with some seeding and mulching. The State Highway 82 project, I sent out the mailer that was shared with me, a pretty substantial change in scope of the project down there. They actually, like the letter did say, removed some concrete that was already placed. They are removing some unsuitable material, some soils that are just underneath what's left there for recycled asphalt. They plan to remove that. That project is working 24 hours a day. Unfortunate, but thankful at the same time that they're making an effort to provide us with a very good road when they're done. So,
how long a stretch was it? They had the remove of the pavement.
I never did measure it, Ken, to see how much they got down. I was told it was a mile of concrete that was removed. That was showing failures already.
Then how far are they EBS them through there then?
Don't have a specific length on what the limits of the EBS are. But what I understood is that they plan on doing the entire project. That's my understanding.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Where are they getting the borrow from?
I do not know where the borrow is coming from. I was stopped down at the intersection at B and 82 the other day, and there was a fleet of trucks. So they must be hauling material, the EBS material off project somewhere. Huh. So I didn't follow them to see where they're at. Huh. The contractors involved in that, Treeweiler, that's the concrete. Gerke is doing a lot of the grading and the subgrade work. If they don't get that work done, we will end up with some temporary asphalt to get us through winter. It's a big change and for the residents down there as well. Now this we haven't received confirmation on yet, but maybe the one positive that may have come out of this thing is the discussion has been that they possibly, and this is only third party discussion, that they are going to move the other section of 82 forward. So they'll move that section of 82 from 13 to B into 2021. But I haven't received official notice of that yet. We currently still do have vacancy. We are doing interviews for our vacant superintendent position. Hopefully we'll come to a conclusion with that early next week. The other item I have here is a water concern. I mean, you familiar with the area? You get up at Z and C. It's called Spring Creek Church there. It's on a hill, and across that frontage there was a small, I'll call it a Carlson curb. There was a very small raise in the asphalt there. So there's a water, if you get in that area, think of the pavement, the surface, the impermeable surface that's there. There's a lot of water runoff. And what's happening is that water's topping that curb, and then it's running into the church parking lot. And then, of course, it's, you know, causing some washouts and some concerns with the church property. So, you know, there's a couple ways to try to address it if you want to look at it or come in a formal motion. One is you take something and try to better define where you want the water to run. So in our case here, we would take a planer. We would take a planer on our mill on our skid steer and better define a trench across that frontage. Or you try to add something to that asphalt. It's not likely it's probably going to stick very long. The larger or more invasive process would be to pour a curb on the backside of that asphalt to you know, leave no doubt that it can't jump it. But they're concerned. They've contacted us a couple times. We have repaired washouts there a couple times previously, where water jumps that curb and gets behind there and washes out. So it isn't just a one-time incident. It has occurred before. So
I know last winter that parking lot had water in it all winter, because it had nowhere to go. It all came downhill.
If the committee has a desire to take action on that, otherwise I'm going to my first attempt probably will be to try a mill and better define that where we want the water to stay.
I think, you know, whatever we can do to help them, I think we don't have to do a lot if we can get by without putting curb and stuff in.
I just, you know, and I think Ken has a good idea what I'm sure everybody does. What we're talking about is a carbide tooth on a rotary head, and you're gonna ours have the capability to tip it, so we will tip it and start a cut along that curb and create a deeper channel there for the water to stay in.
Yeah. Anything else on operations?
Not unless we have some questions.
And now we'll move on to financial report and vouchers.
I don't have anything alarming unless the committee is seeing or has something they want to pursue or look into further. See up here is that 690. That's where I was getting that number from on that machinery account.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I make the motion to accept the both of them, the financials and the vouchers.
Okay.
I don't think we need a motion, do we?
I don't think we need to on them anymore, do we?
Yeah, we stopped doing that and just kind of review them and
Yeah.
leave it at that.
Okay. All right. Thanks anyway, Mike, Mark. Identify possible upcoming agenda items. I think we pretty much have our regular agenda unless somebody has something to add to it. Next. Looks like our next meeting date would be November 12. Everybody all right with that? Okay, we've reached the end of our agenda, so the meeting is completed. Thank you. Thank you.